Hello everyone, my name is Chantal Côté and I'm the Director General of Ecosystems Management at the Department of Fisheries and Oceans. While we meet today on a virtual platform, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands where we stand. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and to facilitate our own understanding of local indigenous peoples and their cultures. From coast to coast to coast, we acknowledge the ancestral, unceded, and treaty lands of all First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people that call these lands home. I would like to begin by thanking everyone for the feedback received so far over the course of the Wave 1 engagement. We're excited to announce the beginning of this second Wave 2. Through the modernization process of the Fish and Fish Habitat Protection Program, we're continuing to engage Indigenous peoples, provinces, territories, other regulators, the regulated community, conservation groups, and all other interested parties in our activities. We believe this engagement will lead to the development of strong and inclusive policies, regulations, and guidance document. The use of the engagement framework is intended to support an approach that ensures engagement occurs in a consistent and predictable manner, which allow interested parties to participate at their choosing. Wave 1 is still ongoing for Indigenous participants until December 17, 2021, but we want to announce this upcoming Wave 2. In Wave 2, all products specific engagement for this new phase will start after the closure of this ongoing Indigenous engagement. Wave 2 will refer to all engagement activities occurring in 2022. We will begin with winter-spring conversations with a short summer break, followed by other conversations next fall and winter. We will begin to explore in greater depth some topics that we're including in Wave 1. We will also be seeking your input on additional new topic areas as well. Through Wave 2, the Talk Fish Habitat Engagement Platform will once again be your main source for news, activities, and related updates. Now I would like to introduce my colleague, James Manicum, who will provide more information. Thank you.
Hi, my name is James Manicum, and I'm the Acting Director of Engagement Partnerships Integrated Planning for Ecosystems Management. Again, I'd like to thank everyone who participated in Wave 1 engagement thus far. Although the entire engagement process is not included, we have received a great deal of valuable feedback which is currently being reviewed by the program. Throughout our Wave 1, our engagement platform was accessed by nearly 200 participants, and we've received more than 600 comments related to the 6 products. Our virtual open houses and meetings were attended by over 100 participants from across the country. A complete What We Heard report will be available following the completion of Wave 1 engagement. In the meantime, Wave 1 progress report will provide an outline of participation and input, but cannot provide a complete picture of what we heard until the Wave 1 engagement closed in December, and all the input has been received. This report looks at engagement Wave 1 participation that closed on June 30th, 2021, and provides a small glimpse into what was shared by Indigenous peoples and others. The complete What We Heard report will be expected for public review in winter 2022. Wave 2 will start with a launch in November, and details will be provided at the end of this presentation. We encourage those that are interested in being notified to register at the Talkfish Habitat platform if you have not already done so, or refamiliarize yourself with the platform if you have used it in the past. Some small, easy-to-navigate changes have been made based on the feedback received throughout Wave 1. Once again, the engagement platform will be the best resource for all engagement activities, background information, and notification of upcoming events. This graphic illustrates an estimated timeline for our engagement undertakings throughout 2022. We aim to give interested participants as much notice as possible to participate in ongoing and upcoming engagement. So as we develop our schedule, we'd like to ensure that we keep you informed. This is what we expect to see through the 2022 calendar year. Shortly, we'll start with the list of topics under the green heading. This list will be further described as we go through today's presentation. All items following for fall 2022 will be described in great detail as the information becomes available. Let's take a look at the products that will begin engagement in early 2022. First up is cumulative effects on fish and fish habitat. In Wave 1, we sought in feedback on the scope of cumulative effects on fish habitat to be considered. It generated a wide range of valuable feedback. All feedback received by December 17, 2021 will be incorporated into the Wave 2 draft guidance document. In Wave 2, we will engage in our draft guidance document and will continue to engage on how the broader issues surrounding cumulative effects on fish habitat should be considered by the program. We'll seek input on the clarity, scope, and guiding principles. The program has drafted a guidance document for the consideration of cumulative effects on fish habitat to provide guidance to staff on interpreting legislative obligations and provide clarity to Indigenous peoples, partners, and stakeholders on how these cumulative effects will be considered by the program. The program is expanding the conversation initiated during Wave 1 engagement on the prescribed works and waters regulation. In Wave 2, the program will propose specific classes of works that could be prescribed in regulation. The development of this proposed regulation will follow established Treasury Board policies. We will seek input in the details of specific classes of works and conditions being considered for inclusion into the proposed regulation and identify additional classes that could be developed for inclusion. Potential classes include shoreline stabilization, aquatic habitat rehabilitation projects, agricultural drains, and noise-inducing activities. This regulation will result in a streamlined approval process for prescribed works or projects and waters meeting specific defined conditions. It will provide better protection of fish habitat while providing increased regulatory efficiency in managing routine works and works conducted in minor waters. In Wave 1, DFO sought input on the engagement continuum, key concepts, and engagement tools of the proposed engagement framework. In Wave 2, we will be providing the public implementation of the engagement framework. The framework should be adopted by spring 2022. The engagement framework supports the development of regulations, policies, guidance, and processes so that planning, designing, implementing, and reporting on meaningful engagement with Indigenous peoples, partners, and stakeholders occurs in a consistent and predictable manner and supports better decision-making. We are open to feedback on the engagement experience. In Wave 2, the program will be informing Canadians of the finalization of the first 6 interim codes of practice engaged on in Wave 1. Further engagement will be conducted through Canada Gazette process. Codes of practice specify procedures, practices, or standards for avoiding the death of fish or the harmful alteration, disruption, or destruction of fish habitat. This is in relation to works, undertakings, and activities during various phases of their development cycle, such as construction, operation, maintenance, or decommissioning. By 2023, the program will endorse a national framework for identification, establishment, and management of ecologically significant areas, to provide transparency on ecologically significant area implementation to partners and stakeholders. We'll be seeking early input on key concepts to inform this framework. Your input will be considered in the development of the national ESA framework. An ESA is a regulatory area-based management tool established under the Fisheries Act that applies to freshwater, estuarine, and marine areas. The purpose is to provide long-term protection and conservation through regulation of key areas in fish habitat that are sensitive, highly productive, rare, or unique, and to ensure effective restoration of these areas when restoration is needed. The Death of Fish position statement has been drafted and will be shared in this next wave of engagement. The position statement will provide clarity to staff and external parties with respect to the program's approach for regulating works, undertakings, and activities other than fishing that are likely to result in the death of fish. This included listed aquatic species at risk under the Fisheries Act and the Species at Risk Act. The program will apply its powers and authorities for regulating works, undertakings, and activities other than fishing that will likely result in the death of fish, in a manner that conserves and protects fish to the extent practical and respects the rights of Indigenous peoples of Canada as recognized and affirmed by Section 35 of the Constitution. The existing facilities and structures position statement has also been drafted and will be shared in this wave of engagement. The departmental position statement will provide further clarity to staff and external parties with respect to the program's approach for applying the fish habitat protection provisions of the Fisheries Act, in combination with relevant provisions of the Species at Risk Act and the Aquatic Invasive Species Regulations to existing facilities or structures. The fish habitat protection provisions of the Fisheries Act, in combination with these other acts, apply to the ongoing operation, modification, maintenance, decommissioning, or any other work, undertaking, or activity associated with an existing facility or structure in or near water frequented by fish, including a facility that was constructed prior to the enactment of these provisions and associated regulations. Now let's take a look at the products upon which we're engaging in the fall of 2022. The program will engage on proposed new codes of practice and potentially review draft codes of practices. The program is also seeking to receive proposals for future codes of practice. Codes of practice specify procedures, practices, or standards for avoiding the death of fish or the harmful alteration, disruption, or destruction of fish habitat. This is in relation to works, undertakings, and activities during various phases of their development cycle, such as construction, operation, maintenance, or decommissioning. The program is proposing to modernize its policies on offsetting and habitat banking that will provide guidance on how to apply these measures to avoid, mitigate, and offset the risks to fish habitat that result from works, undertakings, and activities. We started the conversation on offsetting and habitat banking policies in Wave 1, engaging in the proposed approach to the modernization. In Wave 2, we will continue this dialogue by providing an opportunity for more focused feedback that will allow the program to refine its approach to the modernization of its policy on offsetting and habitat banking. We will seek concrete ideas on how to better facilitate habitat restoration projects and on what is meant by performance-based approach to offsetting. Depending on the conservations and feedback received in the spring, we may continue the conversation on the following works in the fall: the prescribed works in waters regulation, the ecological significant areas work, implementing the fish position statement, and implementing the existing facilities and structures position statement. Conversations on risk management principles and on the Fisheries Act registry may also occur in the fall. Everyone is welcome to participate. We'd like to encourage everyone who's interested in participating in Wave 2 engagement, who has not yet registered to the Talk Fish Habitat platform, to please sign up. This will be the primary resource for keeping you informed on the updated timelines, new engagement exercises, and any and all background resources, among other things. If you registered through Wave 1 or earlier, you are able to access the platform through the email address and password you used. The Wave 2 engagement launch is to be held November 17, 2021. Register for it now at talkfishhabitat.ca to participate. We're very excited to continue collaborating with you.